Hello everyone, my name is Rufaro Natasha Tafa, UID 21BJM1018, and this is for the class Specialized Reporting Lab, online section 1A, and this is for assignment 1, which is to take an interview for a famous person and detail 10 questions you would ask them. The topic I've chosen for this questionnaire is the arts industry in Zimbabwe. The questionnaire is aimed at establishing the impact of COVID on the Zimbabwean arts industry and challenges faced by upcoming artists, and lastly, what can be identified as points of improvement to be made to the arts industry in Zimbabwe. The questionnaire is to be answered by an upcoming popular Zimbabwean artist, and her name is Tamara Mushaninga, who is currently based in Spain pursuing a bachelor's in fine arts. The first question is, how long have you been an artist for? I feel this question will give perspective into how much experience he has in the field, and also will give a brief demographic of the time, considering she is a fairly young artist, so it will also give us a scope of the experience that she has. The next question I would ask her is, where did your journey with art begin? I feel like this is also part of the initial questions that help a person become more receptive to more intricate questions I would ask later on, and also gives us a good base of understanding where her journey with art began. The third question is, what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced with being an artist? I feel this question is also another important question because a lot of artists are facing a number of problems regarding different issues in Zimbabwe, and so hearing it from someone who's actually in the industry and actually has a know-how around the industry would be relevant to the same demographic of people who are interested in that topic. The fourth question is, was there ever a point you felt like quitting? This is a good follow-up question because it comes right after I've asked her any challenges that she's faced, because, some challenges are bigger than others and some will make someone feel like quitting altogether. So I feel like it was a good follow-up question to help get a better understanding of some of the mindsets of people who are also facing similar challenges and might feel like quitting, and actually might be inspirational to some people. The fifth question is, you won a prize at the National Arts Award almost 2 years ago in Spain. Do you feel as though your skills have grown since receiving such recognition? This question is also a mark of progress. I want to understand if she has also assessed personally whether or not she has been growing as an artist or not as much as she would have wanted to. And so this will really help her open up because it's an open-ended question. The sixth question is, do you feel as though you would have made the same progress in Zimbabwe? This is a very necessary question, as a lot of people who are studying arts or humanities disciplines end up leaving the country due to a number of reasons. And so I want to hear from someone who has had a similar experience, whether or not they regret their decision or they find that it was the most beneficial choice for them to vacate. The seventh question is, in what ways do you feel that the arts industry is changing to accommodate new creative artists such as yourself? I feel like this is now touching on the point of trying to gauge what can be improved and also comparing what has already been done in the industry, because of course there have been improvements that have been made, but it's also just an assessment-based question coming from someone who can have a good know-how of how the arts industry has been developing. The eighth question is, would you prefer to be in your arts discipline in Zimbabwe as compared to being abroad? So this also links to the previous question I asked if she feels she would have made the same progress if she had remained in Zimbabwe. So it helps us to understand how she views arts in Zimbabwe compared to that of the art that she has experienced not being in the country. The 10th question is, could you compare the level of art in Zimbabwe to that of well-known artists all around the world? So this is now seeing where we are as an arts industry in Zimbabwe compared to a global scale. As someone who has international exposure, she'll be able to give a perspective of someone who has the experience of being on a global platform, competing globally with artists of different nationalities. So she'll be able to really give us better perspective and insight into this question. My next question would then be, according to your experience, what has been the most significant shift in the arts industry since the beginning of the COVID pandemic to date? A lot of questions are arising considering how the COVID pandemic has affected various industries. And I feel this is a necessary question that is linked to both the industry and both the current time and situation that we're facing. The next question I would then ask is, do you feel as though the pandemic has been beneficial to the industry in any sense? It's basically a follow-up question, just really trying to see if we can get more information out of her considering how the pandemic itself has affected the industry. The next question is, what important role does the artist have in a society such as ours? So this is crucial because in Zimbabwe, being an artist is a very underrated profession in most capacities. So I feel as though hearing from an artist herself what role has been played in the creative industry by artists in the society is very eye-opening, and it's also something that might be of interest to a general reader. The next question, which is number 14, is uprising artists are now being featured in popular international magazines such as Vogue and GQ. What significance do you think this has in terms of marking industry growth? So I feel it's very crucial to recognize the fact that Zimbabwean artists are now being featured in so many international covers and in so many artistic disciplines. So I just want to hear from someone who's also in the arts industry, who's also been recognized on that level, what they have to contribute and how they feel that this recognition has marked a very pivotal point in industry growth as an arts industry in Zimbabwe. The next question is, in terms of awareness, do you think that respect for Zimbabwean artists has grown over time? This is a follow-up but also a separate question from my previous question, which is all to do with recognition and how much we're being noticed as a nation and how that is impacting our arts industry. The next question is that, do you feel that the arts industry has enough resources and support to reach its full potential of expanding? A very big problem for most artists is lack of resources or funding. It's not as easy to apply for a loan for a movie or to have an art exhibition or to have a gallery opening. And so I feel it's a necessary commentary to really ask and understand from a perspective of an artist themselves what they think is happening in terms of that specific hindrance to artists in the industry. Lastly, I would then ask, which part of the arts industry has made the most progress in the last 5 years, from music, art to literature? As she is also in the arts industry herself, she's multidisciplinary. She is into a lot of things. She's a writer, graphic designer, photographer, fine art sculptor, painter. I feel like it would be very necessary to get a commentary of that specific feature itself. And I think upon closing, just to really tie things up, is what is the biggest improvement that you think would help the industry and upcoming artists? So I feel like this would be a good way to just really end the questionnaire itself, because I feel like if she were to pinpoint some of the improvements that can be made, it would just give a nice, well-rounded overview of the questionnaire and really gauge one of the main points I had constructed the questionnaire in light of. Thank you so much for listening to my questionnaire, and hopefully I have given enough insight and explanation into some of my questions.